Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome. Welcome you all to the City of Homestead Council Presentation Ceremony. Today is April 17th, 2024. The first item on the agenda is our annual proclamation in honor and recognition of Fair Housing Month. So rather than read the whereases and the wherefores, we recognize that above and beyond, or I'd say first and foremost, above and beyond the affordability crisis and the other issues that we know folks all across the economic spectrum deal with, that underlying all of that is the right to access without discrimination based on many different factors. And this is just a reiteration of our recognition of that and our commitment to moving that forward. And I believe that Carla Zavala, on behalf of our finance department, is going to accept the proclamation tonight. And thank you. Thank you. I mean, the podium that's not supposed to be here. Seal is still too low. Is there anyone here on behalf of the Middlebrooks family? Oh, there they are. Perfect timing. Councilwoman? Come on in, Middlebrooks family. You're just in time. Councilwoman Bailey's coming down now. Welcome. Thank you for coming tonight.
To turn the other way. And you guys are welcome to stay up here with us if you like. Good evening, everyone. It is my honor to present the following declaration of condolences on behalf of our mayor, vice mayor, and council for the city of Homestead to the loving wife, family, and friends of Mr. Willie Frank Middlebrooks. We have the following declaration of condolences, speaking a lot on his beautiful life, and I will read a few of those pieces. Whereas Mr. Willie Frank Middlebrooks was born in Gay, Georgia on March 22nd, 1931, to Carrie Britton and Joseph Middlebrooks. And whereas Mr. Willie Middlebrooks received his formal education in the Coweta County Public School System. And whereas he met the love of his life, Irene Barrett. The two joined in holy matrimony on February 5th, 1956. And Mr. Middlebrooks gained employment at various organizations, including FEC, Turkey Point, W.R. Grace, Estex, and retired at Vigoro after many years of dedicated service. Although Willie was a full-time employee, he also served as a faithful, well-known farmer in Florida City. After retirement, Willie continued to farm and serve his community by volunteering at Homestead Soup Kitchen. And one of his greatest joys was spending time with his family and friends and sharing peppermint candy and bubblegum with everyone. He loved taking scenic rides throughout the city, as well as partaking in various games. He loved fishing, watching baseball, wrestling, The Price is Right, and Family Feud. He was sometimes found at the domino table teaching lessons. And unfortunately, on Monday, December 4th, the dearly beloved Mr. Willie Middlebrooks heard the sweet voice of Jesus beckoning, "Come unto me." Mr. Willie Middlebrooks was preceded by his parents and siblings, he leaves to mourn his loving wife, his 13 children, 70 grandchildren, a host of nieces and nephews, great-grandchildren, and other children whom he mentored as a father, as well as many dear friends. Therefore, our Mayor, Stephen D. Losner, does hereby proclaim March 20th, 2024 as a day of remembrance for Mr. Willie Frank Middlebrooks. Thank you very much. Would you like to say something?
Ms. Middlebrook, you are a pillow in our community and our city. Thank you for allowing me to walk beside you for 20 years, giving back to the community and to our soup kitchen, and making a difference to serve. Ms. Smith gave us the charge to continue to support giving donations 3 times a week, food donations to help our community. Thank you, Councilman Bailey. Thank you, Councilman Roth, and to the council, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Councilman Larry Roth, and to everyone here that helps make up our city and giving to the community. Thank you.
If any other friends and family would like to join, please. You are more than welcome to.
Grandma, I love you so much, and thank you for all that you have taught us, the upbringing, the loving, just how to be respectful and carry yourself as a woman, a mother, and just being very big on family.
We'd like to thank you guys and appreciate you for your time. Thank you so much.
Again, thank you all. And this concludes our presentation ceremony for this evening. And the local planning agency meeting will convene at 5:30. Again, thank you all. Thank you, Councilwoman. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'd like to call the City of Homestead Local Planning Agency meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, April 17th, 2024. And it is now 5:31 p.m. Would you call the roll, please, Madam Clerk?
Board Member Avila. Here. Board Member Ross. Here. Board Member Bailey. Here. Vice Chairman Fletcher.
Here.
Chairman Losner. Here. Ex officio Lawrence Ventura.
Here. Are there any additions, deletions, or deferrals? None? Planning staff? Planning attorneys? None. Okay, very good. All right, we have before us the minutes of the meeting of March 20th for approval. Do I have a motion to approve? It's been moved and seconded. Moved by Board Member Ross, seconded by Board Member Bailey. Any further questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposed? Mr. White.
Yes, please be advised the following items on the agenda are quasi-judicial in nature. If you wish to comment upon any of these items, please indicate the item number you would like to address when the announcement regarding the quasi-judicial item is made. An opportunity for persons to speak on each item will be made available after the applicant and staff have made their presentations on each item. Swearing in, all testimony, including public testimony and evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation. Additionally, each person who gives testimony may be subject to cross-examination. If you do not wish to either be cross-examined or sworn, your testimony will be given its due weight. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request the LPA to ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. The full agenda packet on each item is hereby entered into the record. Persons representing organizations must present evidence of their authority to speak for the organization. Further details of the quasi-judicial procedures may be obtained from the clerk. In accordance with Code Section 2-590, any lobbyist must register before addressing the local planning agency on any of the following items. At this time, I'd ask members to disclose any ex parte communications concerning any items on this evening's agenda.
Disclosure? Yeah, well, all except Kings Highway for me. Same for everyone? Kings Highway is 3 and 7, the rezoning and the FLUM amendment.
So then, at this time, I'd ask anyone in the audience who's wishing to speak on any of the items this evening on the agenda, please stand, raise your right hand to be sworn by the clerk.
Do you hereby swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God? Thank you. You may be seated.
First item for consideration this evening is tab 2. It's card number 4189. It's an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the rezoning as requested by VARCAMP Group LLC of an approximately 16,875 square foot parcel of land from one-family R1 zoning district to professional business restricted B1A zoning district for property located at 60 Northeast 16th Street as legally described in Exhibit A, providing for conflict, severability, and providing for an effective date.
Good, thank you. Planning Department.
Good evening. VARCAMP Group LLC is requesting a rezoning from R1 Single Family District to B1A Professional Restricted District for an approximate parcel of land totaling 16,875 square feet located at 60 Northeast 16th Street. At last month's LPA and council meeting, the applicant came forward with a similar application, but with a more intense use of B1. They have since amended their application to a B1A. Council was concerned with some of the uses that were permitted via the B1 use. The site is currently developed with an existing single-family home. To the immediate north, south, and west are commercial parcels of land that contain the LCU FLUM designation, which encourages commercial and retail activities. The rezoning will be compatible with other uses that are in the immediate vicinity to the property. Staff recommends approval of the proposed rezoning.
Thank you. Any questions from council? Have a motion to approve. Moved by Council Board Member Avila, second by Board Member Bailey. Any final comments? We need a roll call on this one, Madam Clerk.
Board Member Ross? Yes. Board Member Avila? Yes. Board Member Bailey? Vice Chairman Fletcher? Yes. Chairman Losner? The motion carries.
Good, thank you. All right, so the next item is a companion, tabs 7 and 3, a FLUM amendment followed by the rezoning.
Right, they're interrelated. I can introduce those. You could have a collective public hearing.
A bulk presentation.
Separately. Right, so tab 7, card number 4215, is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the comprehensive future land use map designation as requested by Kings Highway LLC of an approximately 0.5 acre parcel of land from light commercial use to low residential use for property generally located north of Northwest 15th Street, east of Northwest 2nd Avenue, south of Northwest 16th Street, west of Northwest 1st Avenue, as legally described in Exhibit A, providing for conflict, severability, and providing for an effective date. Corresponding tab 3, is card number 4214 is the rezoning request. It's an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the rezoning as requested by Kings Highway LLC of an approximately 0.5 acre parcel of land from restricted retail commercial zoning district to one family zoning district for property generally located north of Northwest 15th Street, east of Northwest 2nd Avenue, south of Northwest 16th Street, west of Northwest 1st Avenue, as legally described in Exhibit A, providing for conflict, severability, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Kings Highway LLC, the applicant is requesting a rezoning from Professional Business Restricted District B1A to One Family R1 District, which is a single-family district, for 3 parcels totaling .5 acres generally located northwest of 15th Street, east of Northwest 2nd Avenue, south of Northwest 16th Street, and west of Northwest 1st Avenue. The applicant has also submitted concurrent application for a future land use map amendment for light commercial use, from light commercial use to low residential density use. Property is currently vacant and unimproved. In September of 2020, the City Council approved similar applications for FLUM, a future land use map amendment, and a rezoning of the parcels immediately to the north. The applicant at the time also submitted a waiver of plat with the intent to develop 3 single-family homes. The applicant wishes to do the same on the 3 current parcels that are subject to the rezoning application and the FLUM applications before you this evening. Staff recommends approval of the request to rezone from B1A to R1 and to approve a future land use map designation of from light commercial use to light residential use. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any questions for the board? All right, so we'll need a motion first on tab 7, the future land use map amendment. Moved by Board Member Roth, second by Board Member Bailey. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Board Member Ross? Board Member Bailey? Board Member Avila? Vice Chairman Fletcher? Chairman Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And next, tab 3, the rezoning. Moved by Board Member Bailey. Second by Board Member Roth. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Board Member Bailey? Board Member Ross? Board Member Avila? Vice Chairman Fletcher? Chairman Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Very good. And we will next take as a bulk item, tabs 4, 5, and 6, rezoning of 3 of the parcels within the project known as Sendero Landing.
Tab 4, card number 3933, is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the rezoning as requested by D.R. Horton, Inc. of approximately 82.1 acre parcel of land from general use zoning district to technology mixed use TMU zoning district for the property generally located north of Southwest 328th Street, west of Southeast 12th Avenue, and east of Southeast 6th Avenue as legally described in Exhibit A, providing for conflict, severability, and providing for an effective date. Tab 5, card number 3934, is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the rezoning as requested by D.R. Horton, Inc. of approximately 10.28 acre parcel of land from RTH Townhouse zoning district to technology mixed use TMU zoning district for property generally located north of Southwest 328th Street, west of Southeast 12th Avenue, east of Southeast 6th Avenue, as legally described in Exhibit A, providing for conflict, severability, and providing for an effective date. And finally, tab 6, card number 3935, is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the rezoning as requested by D.R. Horton, Inc. of an approximately 4.4 acre parcel of land from multiple apartment R3 zoning district to technology mixed use zoning district for property generally located north of Southwest 328th Street, west of Southeast 12th Avenue, and east of Southeast 6th Avenue, as legally described in Exhibit A, providing for conflict, severability, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Before Ms. Lopez proceeds, is there anyone on council who has any objection to waiving the staff report if we can do that? This has been before us numerous times conceptually, and I think we all understand and the public has heard this numerous times. So we will waive the staff report. So I need a motion on tab 4 rezoning to start with. Moved by Board Member Roth. Second by Board Member Vice Chair Fletcher. All right, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Board Member Avila? Yes. Board Member Ross? Yes. Board Member Bailey? Yes. Vice Chairman Fletcher?
Yes.
Chairman Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
All right, rezoning with respect to tab 5. We have a motion. Moved by Board Member Ross, seconded by Board Member Bailey. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Board Member Ross? Board Member Bailey? Board Member Avila? Yes. Vice Chairman Fletcher?
Yes.
Chairman Lawson?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And our last item is tab 6. I need a motion to rezone. Moved by Board Member Roth, second by Board Member Bailey. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Board Member Bailey? Board Member Avila? Yes. Board Member Roth? Vice Chairman Fletcher?
Yes.
Chairman Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. I believe that concludes the business for this board tonight. Anything further, Mr. Attorney or planning staff? All right, then we have a motion to adjourn this meeting. Been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And we will convene the council meeting, regular council meeting at 6 o'clock this evening. Thank you. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'd like to call the City of Homestead regular city council meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, April 17th, 2024, and it is now 6 p.m. The invocation tonight will be given by Pastor Alex Pacina, pastor of the Summit Church of Homestead, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Vice Mayor Fletcher. Pastor Pacina, please rise.
Good evening. Let's bow our heads and pray. Father, thank you for being good to us. Thank you for your mercy and your grace. Thank you for being better to us, Father, than we've ever been to you, and better to us than we've ever been to ourselves. We've seen this community change, Father God, from the days of one lane on Chrome Avenue and going to Scotty's, Father, to pick up our supplies for hardware. And Father, you've been through with us every step of the way. Thank you, Father God, for providing so much more stuff for us. I pray that we would steward it well. I pray for the protection, Father God, for our police officers, for those that watch over us while we sleep. I also pray, Father, for your provisions for those that are less fortunate, that you would stretch out your hand, Father, that you tell us is not too short to save or to heal or to provide, that you would do that for our city. Father, with hurricane season coming up, we ask you to be kind to us. We just ask you, Father God, to show mercy, allowing us, Father, to just have another summer where there's just enough rain to provide for our people. Give wisdom to the people that lead our city, to our governing officials, to our chiefs, to our staff, and help us to steward, Father, what you've given us well. We lay all this at your feet, and we ask you for wisdom tonight. Help us to be productive and to put your agenda before ours. It's in the precious name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
Left, right, left. On the guard. Hold. Right, face. Present. Arms.
Will you please join me? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Arms. Left. Face. Forward. March.
Thank you all. Please be seated. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Roth? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Here.
Mayor Losner?
Here. All right, we're at the point in the agenda where we will open the floor for general public comments. If you are here to speak on a specific item, you will be afforded that opportunity when we hear the item on the agenda. We're going to limit you to a couple of minutes. Mr. Powell, you signaled first. Come on down.
I have been missing, but not forgotten, hopefully. I do watch at home. I need headset, even at home. And the problem I have at home is I cannot hear your three votes. I don't hear either your microphones, you're not talking into the microphone. I don't know how you vote. And I can't find out for 4 months till the minutes come out. So I have no idea, other than it's approved, who said what, who voted. I think I have a solution to that. Us who have problems hearing, right? I have a little solution. It took me about all of 10 minutes to figure this one out. It's called an old-fashioned weather vane. And what you do is you have this weather vane, and if you're going to vote for it, you point it toward negative. And if you're going to vote against it, you turn it away. I can see that, and I know how to vote. Which one of you? You. And for the new city manager, for which way the wind blows, I have one for you. What do you do? I took yours, Mayor. I'm sorry. I wanted to thank you. I hadn't been here since the election, and I wanted to thank them. Mr. Davis, I've been involved with him for years over at the military. We're still involved at the military. My wife's still doing the RSVPs there, and we are involved. Mr. Fletcher, we have a thing called turnover, Keysgate. Now, I send out thousands of emails that gets zero reply to my questions. And they write these beautiful articles in the Keys Noter about how wonderful homeowners are. It is the best thing since ice cream. And trying to get an answer, trying to look at financials, trying to get anything, you get stonewalled. Whether you don't have any input as a city council, but you do live in Keysgate. And you did talk to our delegates who don't have meetings open to us. They're private meetings, delegates. And they've decided that they're going to only be the ones who are going to elect themselves to the new board. I don't know that works very correct as far as statute 720. Last but not least, the bridge over on Farm Life, still not built. 2 years ago, you said to previous sanitation, where is it? It's going to get built in a month. You said outside the box. We still don't have a stoplight at Centergate and Kingman, and that's been 2 years. And they haven't even started it. Thank you very much. Enjoy your weather vanes.
Thank you, Mr. Powell, and appreciate your craftsmanship, and we can always use a bit of humor, but we'll all be more mindful of speaking into the mic and making sure that the audience can clearly hear our votes in the future. All right, any further public comment, just general public comment? All right, so I'm going to close the public comment section of the agenda. Councilwoman, are your people here? They are. All right, if there are no objections, want to move item 20, tab 20, forward as the next item. Objection? So, Mr. Pearl, if you'll read that item by title, and if we have a staff report, and I know this was initiated by Councilwoman Avila.
Tab 20 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, creating a blasting advisory board, establishing criteria for member composition, providing for sunset, providing for implementation, providing for an effective date.
Is there a staff report on this item, Mr. Manager?
No.
No staff report. Councilwoman?
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the courtesy of bringing the item to the front. We do have presenters in the House to go over some of the effects of blasting that occurs at these sites. The presenters are Brian Morera, founder and lead attorney of Morera Law Group and former member of the Town of Miami Lakes Blasting Advisory Board, and Stephen Herzberg, attorney of Vasquez and Associates and current secretary of the Town of Miami Lakes Blasting Advisory Board. And so this item is on the agenda as a response to residents' concerns, and I'm just interested in hearing my council's opinions, thoughts, and to give some direction on how we can make this an opportunity to create an advocacy, whether it's a committee or a position or what have you, but just for discussion tonight. Thank you.
Welcome, gentlemen. If you would, for the record, give us your names and addresses and go forward.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Brian Morera. My residential address is 15853 Northwest 91st Court in Miami Lakes, Florida, 33018.
Good evening, everyone. Stephen Herzberg, my residential address 16745 Northwest 84th Court, Miami Lakes, Florida, 33016.
So, as Councilwoman Avila mentioned, I'm a former member of the Blasting Advisory Board. Mr. Herzberg is a current member of the Blasting Advisory Board in Miami Lakes. This idea came about mainly due to Councilwoman Avila receiving some concerns, I believe, from residents of the city of Homestead regarding the ongoing blasting and mining operations going on near your city limits. She's heard me talk about these issues before, so she contacted me to see how our Blasting Advisory Board operates, what it looks like. We believe it useful to understand, first and foremost, what the problem is before you can start developing potential solutions to that. To that effect, we do have a little bit of a presentation for you guys. I will caveat it by stating that this is tailored to the town of Miami Lakes. Obviously, we would hope you guys, if this resolution passes and this committee is created, you guys start getting information and data points on your own areas. So obviously, yeah, that's pointing out the main area for us, which is the White Rock Quarry over in Northwest Miami-Dade. This is, again, a breakdown of a lot of the different mines, who owns what, again, for that West Miami-Dade area. For you guys, you're a little too far south to be included in the photo, but I believe the mine just to the south of Homestead is SDI, but it's one of these big companies. So one of the things that's important to understand is what is happening. When the mines, in order to loosen up the rock that they collect, they need to detonate an explosive to loosen it up, turn it into smaller rocks, and then they come by with a dredger, essentially, and come and scoop it up. When they detonate that explosive, that explosion releases energy waves. Think back to high school science class. That's what a wave looks like, plain and simple. And I do want to also preface by saying, both of our backgrounds are in law. We are not physicists. We are not geologists. One of the things that made the Blasting Advisory Board successful in Miami Lakes was who was put in there. It was imperative that you have people from skill sets that actually apply to the blasting issue. In our case, we have a fundamental understanding of local law as well as state law on this issue. In case you're not aware, the issue of blasting has been preempted by state law, so the county and the local governments, they can't really do much by way of limiting it. What we can do is to continue to advocate. One of the things to understand is you're getting hit in at least two different ways when a blast goes off. One is the direct ground vibration caused by the explosion, that's the energy wave. The other one is actually an air pressure wave. If you've ever watched in the movies or old videos of nuclear explosions, you always see that gust of wind that's going ahead of the explosion. That's the pressure wave. Obviously to a much lesser degree in this instance, but it is still buffeting your home. one of the things that makes this issue particularly difficult is you may hear one of your neighbors say, "My God, I felt a gigantic earthquake," but then someone a couple doors down says, "I didn't feel anything." Well, again, this is why we explain it is an energy wave. And I know maybe for the audience it's a little difficult to see due to the color contrasting, but you see the red energy wave. That's actually the size of the energy wave. It's very high and also goes underground. If you're that house right in the middle of the image, you're going to feel a very violent seismic activity. But if you're a few doors down, and this is actually what we point out here, if you're a few doors down, you might not feel anything at all. And so you end up getting a situation where many of the miners even will tell you, "Oh no, you're not feeling the mines. You're not feeling the explosion." And you're like, "Well, I'm not crazy. We do feel it." And then it just doesn't make it any better that maybe your neighbor's also saying, "I didn't feel anything," but that's the reason why. So I don't really know how to press play on this. I don't know if that'll work. Oh, yeah, okay. So this actually demonstrates how the blast wave, you actually saw it go from the front door outwards. And you're seeing it's actually moving in a directional flow. One thing we've noticed is, I think this next slide shows it, is how do you distinguish blasting damage from maybe settling or other types of damages? Because it's very tempting sometimes to blame everything on blasting, but that's not the case. It's not always blasting. The telltale signs of blasting are when you find cracks and damages in the corners of the structural frames. So corners of your doorways, corners of your windows, and the corners of the structure itself. So that's why you're seeing a lot of heat signatures at the actual corners of the structure. Essentially, this is kind of just to show you an extreme, please understand, this is an extremely exaggerated animation, but it's meant to show you what is happening in your home when the blast wave goes through. That's what your home is going through. Now let's keep in mind, in this animation, it almost looks like it's made out of rubber. Your house isn't made out of rubber. It's made out of concrete. And concrete is meant to withstand compression, not expansion. That's doing both, compressing and expanding, which concrete is not designed to do. Wood, for example, is very good at handling at being flexible, like this. Concrete is strong, but it's also brittle. If you crack concrete, it no longer has its strength.
Let me interrupt you, though, and ask you to address, though, with your experience of the Miami Lakes Blasting Advisory Board, what have you been able to accomplish? What's the nuts and bolts of your operation? How do you measure success, and what have you determined from that?
Well, I've been on the board for close to 4 years now. And one of the most important things we do, I see two of the most important things. Advocate. The board has gone to Tallahassee. Brian came with us, has been up there twice, and we lobby. We lobby on behalf of legislation. There's been attempts to legislate this issue by Representative Tom Fabricio, who's from Miami Lakes. Bills have been filed. They have not gone through committee. Just this past February, though, we did have a workshop in committee where the mining industry, myself, and the former chair of the Blasting Advisory Board, Miguel Martinez, provided presentations or testimony on the issue. So that was a major milestone, really, because it's the first time in 20 years that this issue was even discussed at all in Tallahassee. The other thing is education. We go out and educate the public. We hold workshops at Town Hall. We hold presentations. We have a professor from the University of Miami explain to people how the blasting might be affecting their homes and properties. We had school board officials come regarding the damages that we've had teachers and students talk about. We've invited the mining companies to come. They don't accept those invitations, but those are the type of things that we try to do. And ultimately, we are working right now on getting other towns involved. We need other municipalities to join the effort. Other municipalities up in Northwest Dade, in Southwest Broward, and evidently here. If we can get a larger and more consistent message, then we can have a better chance of getting actual legislative reform. And that's what this is really about at this point, is to get other people behind us. We have the data, we have the materials. We have some data about the mines in this area, not as extensive as we have for Miami Lakes, but we have things that can really get this board up and running very quickly so it can be ready for the legislative session 2025. That's the goal.
If I can also answer the question about what does success look like, it's important to know what is done in those mines is incredibly important to not just the South Florida economy, but the southeastern United States economy. The aggregate that comes from those mines is crucial to the construction industry, to our infrastructure, to a lot of industries. We are not trying to shut down blasting because the miners love trying to say that we're trying to take their jobs, but that's not the case. We are simply trying to be neighbors with them. They're there, you guys are here. Let's coexist and live together. And by the way, I think Representative Fabricio's bill was very reasonable in that it only tries to limit the blasting intensity for those mines that are within a set distance, 1 mile? 1 mile from residential homes. If you're out in the middle of nowhere and you're not bothering anyone, you're not subject to the lower limits that he's suggesting. This is only when you are close enough to actually cause damage.
Okay, so a couple questions. Can either of you share with me what your most recent knowledge is as to the budget that's been consumed in Miami Lakes to operate the board?
Really, for many years, we didn't have any budget. And it was the board that we were local, and we held events and did advocacy. Recently, we received the budget last year. Our budget's $7,500, and we didn't even go through it this year.
How much?
$7,500.
$7,500.
$7,500, and we didn't even go through it all. It's still, the fiscal year's still pending, but we're likely not going to go through it. And the only thing we use the budget for is to travel to Tallahassee. We usually send 3 to 4 board members up there to lobby, depending on what's going on with the bill. It might be once, might be twice. And marketing materials, which a lot of our marketing materials are actually just done in-house with town staff, and we don't spend much money. It's not a cost-extensive, it doesn't cost the town much money other than the traveling, which is really, we do a good job keeping that amount limited.
Has there not been success in having, because cities pay dues to their county league of cities as well as the Florida League of Cities? Has either, to your knowledge, has either the Miami-Dade League or the Florida League failed or refused to take up that issue on behalf of their cities?
To my understanding, they have not taken up, I don't want to say anyone's refused, they have not taken it up. That is an ask I've made to our council to push for that, but I need more than Miami Lakes. Right now, the Miami Lakes Blasting Advisory Board is the lobbying team on this issue in the entire state, and this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. We have gotten a workshop, we have gotten the Miami-Dade pilot program installed. When in our first trip to Tallahassee, that pilot program was stalled, no one was doing anything about it, we got it going. So I imagine what 5, 7 board members from Miami Lakes can do if we can get other cities such as Homestead involved. We believe that we can make progress much faster and relief for the residents.
Mayor, if I may.
Sure.
What I thought was quite interesting, or concerning rather, was that White Quarry, or Rock, what's it called again?
White Rock?
White Rock Quarry, they're done, right? And they're looking for a more southern location, or they're going to start at another location?
I mean, Councilwoman, look at a map. There's no more space up there, but there's plenty down here. This is going to be their next area. It's a frank reality. And it might not be that prevalent today, but give it a couple years, let them run out of space completely up there. And they're now, as a matter of fact, this morning, we got the news that Vulcan acquired a gigantic parcel. I forgot the number. $98 million, how many acres was it? It was like 300 or 400 acres to the west of Doral. They're moving south. Why? Because they have to battle the is it the UDB? Yeah, the UDB in order to avoid encroaching further out into the Everglades and getting pushback from the county and from the federal government on that ground. They got nowhere else to go. They're gonna end up here. This is where, and what they end up doing, just so you understand, is Miami Lakes is famous for its lakes. Most of those lakes are former quarries. A lot of them, at least. Maybe not most of them, but a lot of them are former quarries. Where my community is, where I live, it's a big 80-acre lake, and it used to be a rock mine. And so what they do is they go, they blast, they then fill the lake created by the blasting, and then sell off the land to Lennar or whoever wants to buy it to develop a new community. And so you're going to be very close to all these activities.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the presenters for their information and educating us. It's really valuable information, and I congratulate you on your mission, and I wish you the best of luck. I'd like to defer or table the rest of the discussion to stay on the agenda as item 20, so we can circle back and continue the conversation as a council.
Sure,
If
okay,
that's okay.
appreciate that. But I think Councilman Roth's been patiently waiting to chime in here. Okay, so, no, she wanted them to be able to do their presentation and move on, and.
That's a couple questions.
Okay, sure.
Thank you, thank you. So, aside from awareness, what's the ultimate goal of a committee to the mining industry? What is the ultimate goal?
The ultimate goal is, like I said, to live as neighbors. What does that look like? That looks like implementing a reasonable number. So we didn't really get to that, but the way in which the intensity is measured is through a measurement called peak particle velocity. That's how you measure the energy wave. It's PPV for short. Right now, the state limit on PPV is 0.5. The one proposed in legislation by Tom Fabricio is 0.15. So you're going from 50 to 15. Again, only if you're within a mile from a residential community. That's how you live as neighbors. And it's important to note that from the information we have from, I think it was March of 2023, which may not include some more recent information from down here, is a lot of the smaller mines that are not named White Rock Quarries do blast below that level as it is. Maybe right now this is a concern because they're getting a little bit bolder or something like that, but when we were looking at the data, when they were blasting below those numbers, no one complained, no one had issues because you don't feel it. And if they want to blast 1,000 times a day at those low levels, that's fine because you're not harming anyone. That's a reasonable accommodation to allow additional blasts during one day. In Miami Lakes, you know when the blast is coming. It's coming at 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. every day, and it's gonna come through your house. And you're gonna notice it. I work in a 3-story commercial office building with made out of concrete, and it rattles that building, not just a small home. So what does it look like? It looks like a reduction down to that 0.15, which, like I said, a lot of the smaller mines are already doing that, and they're generating a profit. They're not losing jobs. They're not losing workers, which is a big point that they try to say. Every time you try to do anything with them, they say you're trying to kill jobs, and we're not. We're simply trying to figure out a way to live together. How do you get there? We need to push for this legislative reform on the limits. I should note that 0.5 limit at the state level was determined based on a study. That study was performed in Pennsylvania, where the substrata, what's underneath us, was granite and clay, which absorbs the energy wave completely differently than limestone and water, which is what we have underneath us. Here, the energy wave travels substantially further than in any place that's gonna have granite and clay. So it's always been our position that the setting of the limit at 0.5 ppv was flawed from the get-go because it was based on a study that has no bearing in South Florida.
right? So I get that part of it. So to reduce the impact of the explosions, but what about the after effect, right? Remediation, repairs to any destruction that was caused. Who makes that determination? Living in South Florida and actually living in the Villages area, you mentioned 11 o'clock in the morning. Yes, at 11 o'clock in the morning, we used to get rattled. I moved a little bit further to the north, and I don't feel it like I used to. But the complaints come from people who have suffered damage. How do we, through a committee, address that? Because what I understand is that with the levels set by the state, the insurance companies won't approve claims because they're blasting at that level, and they accept that. So you have a dual sword there, right? So you can't get it from the miner who's making a profit off of what they're doing, but the person who's insuring your house won't pay a claim either. And we all know that, especially with new construction, when you pour a concrete slab, regardless of blasting or not, if you tile that floor within the first couple of years, your floor is going to crack. We know that. So how do you determine what was caused by the miners' explosions and what wasn't a cause of the miners' explosion? How do we know that? And we can talk about that at another time, but the direction of the consumer who calls and complains, social media, when they talk about the blasting and who can they call to complain to, there's really no real clear-cut answer of who they can go to. So I understand that this is probably, especially in our area, and if they're going to come further south and start blasting more, the new development that's going up in Keysgate now is going to be affected by that type of stuff. So I'm for the committee, creating this committee. I just want to make sure that the direction is rightfully guided. So,
And that is something we've discussed as well, because prior legislation from Representative Fabricio has discussed in the ways that you can get damages. Right now, there is a way. You have to go through Department of Administrative Proceedings and file a claim with DOA because the state took away your right to go to circuit court, civil court. That's something that we have discussed and we don't agree with, and that's prior legislation has tried to overturn that, but at this point, it is a two-step process. We're trying to mitigate and then look at the damages, and I will say the representative has discussed publicly some ideas for some type of bills that provide funding for the damages. It's also been discussed in county chambers as well from Senator Garcia, so those ideas are out there. And we want to push those ideas, but we need more than just the town of Miami Lakes to push those ideas. So help from the city of Homestead and resources from a city such as Homestead would be tremendous help to everyone in the county. And this lime rock is very valuable for construction. No one's going anywhere. We know that. The first thing we talk to someone, whether it's the CFO's office or any legislator or the governor's office, we're not shutting down any mines. That's not the point. That should never be the point. And again, the board is here, the Miami Lakes board is here. If you do approve a board, we're going to help you right along and get your board going with all the information we have on day one.
Thank you. Vice Mayor.
Yeah, just quickly, my only concern with a board is that the public might think that we have control of what happens at that point in time. So I would be more willing to appoint a city employee through the manager's office as like a direct point of contact rather than have a board, and then they can bring their issues to us. Because I've lived this for 27 years, living in my house. I've had the equipment from both the insurance company and the blasting company in my yard measuring the blast waves, and all saying it's well below the state normalized level, but I've been shaken out of bed before. I have slept till 11 o'clock in the morning sometimes. But as far as a board goes, I think we need to think about that, and let's maybe bring it in a little bit more so I don't want the public to think that we have control over this, but we do have input over it. So that's it. Thank you.
It's almost like a legislative wish list rather than a we can help you with your specific project. But, you know, it's your request. We'll come back to this. We'll go through the rest of the agenda and and come back to this item and finish the discussion, but thank you all for coming down.
Thank you so
Appreciate it.
much.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Mr. Manager, are there any additions, deletions, or deferrals this evening?
None, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All right, we have before us a consent agenda comprised of tabs 1 through 4. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Moved by Councilwoman Avila, second by Councilwoman Bailey. Any further questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Mr. White, have it.
Yes, moving on. Please be advised the following items on the agenda are quasi-judicial in nature. If you wish to comment upon any of these items, please indicate the item number you would like to address when the announcement regarding the quasi-judicial item is made. An opportunity for persons to speak on each item will be made available after the applicant and staff have made their presentations on each item. Swearing in. All testimony, including public testimony and evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation. Additionally, each person who gives testimony may be subject to cross-examination. If you do not wish to either be cross-examined or sworn, your testimony will be given its due weight. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request the council to ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. The full agenda packet on each item is hereby entered into the record. Persons representing organizations must present evidence of their authority to speak for that organization. Further details of the quasi-judicial procedures may be obtained from the clerk. In accordance with Code Section 2-590, any lobbyist must register before addressing the council on any of the following items. And at this time, I'd ask council members to disclose any ex parte communications concerning any of the quasi-judicial items on this evening's agenda.
All items with the exception of Kings Highway.
Right, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13.
Right.
Thank you. So at this time, anyone in the audience is wishing to speak on any of the quasi-judicial items this evening, please stand, raise your right hand, and be sworn by the clerk.
Do you hereby swear affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God? Thank you. You may be seated.
All right. So tabs 5 and 6, Mr. White, I think we need to take together.
Sure.
Kind of a companion package. Give you a
Yes.
joint presentation, and then we'll vote separately.
So tab 5, card number 4248, is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, repealing resolution number 2023-0460, supporting the expansion of the Kingman Gate Multipurpose Special Taxing District, aggregately encompassing approximately 89.62 acres, more or less, having external boundaries as depicted and legally described in Exhibit A, authorizing the city manager to enter into a local agreement between Miami-Dade County and the city for the expansion and transfer of the special taxing district to the city upon modification and expansion pursuant to section 18.31 of the county code, providing for transmittal of the city clerk, and providing for an effective date. The companion items, tab 6, this is card number 4218. It's a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, supporting the creation of the Keys Gate North Multipurpose Maintenance Special Taxing District, aggregately encompassing approximately 10 acres, more or less, having external boundaries as depicted and legally described in Exhibit A, authorizing the city manager to enter into an interlocal agreement between Miami-Dade County and the city for the creation and immediate transfer of the multipurpose special taxing district to the city upon creation pursuant to section 18-3.1 of the County Code of Ordinances, providing for transmittal by the city clerk and providing for an effective date.
Hey, thank you. Ms. Lopez?
I apologize in advance. This will be a little wordy. I'll try to make it painless. The applicant EHC2 Multi-State 4 LLC has requested favorable support from the City of Homestead concerning repeal of the proposed dormant Keys Gate North Multipurpose Special Taxing District for an approximate 10 net acres of land, as referenced in the folio above. On April 19, 2023, the City Council granted expansion of the special dormant taxing of the Kingman Gate Multipurpose Maintenance Special Taxing District, subject to approval of an interlocal agreement between the City and Miami-Dade County for immediate transfer and control of the special taxing district to the city upon creation by the county, referenced as the agreement. Specifically, the Kingman Gate Special Taxing District encompassing approximately 79.62 net acres was expanded to include the property, consistent with the same boundaries and legal description associated with Kingman Gate CDD expansion. Despite the city's previous approval expanding the Kingman Gate Special Taxing District to include the property, Miami-Dade County staff is now requiring the applicant instead to create a new special taxing district for the property, which would be approximately 10 acres, and the next item in my presentation. Therefore, the applicant requests repeal of resolution number 2023-0460, reverting the Kingman Gate Special Taxing District to its original boundaries as approved pursuant to resolution 2019-0438. Staff recommends approval of that request. The companion item is to take those same 10 acres that we just took out of the special taxing district and create a new special taxing district for Kingman Gate North. Mr. Arza, Holland and Knight, is here to speak on the specifics of the request, and he's had many conversations with the county and could shed some light as to why the county changed their minds.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, sorry, if I may real quick.
Sure.
I would like to add 5 and 6 in my disclosures yesterday. It did briefly come up in an unrelated meeting yesterday. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Hugo Arza, 701 Brickell Avenue, representing the applicant and really Lennar Homes, who is the developer. Thank you to staff. That actually, I think, was a fairly concise explanation. I had an opportunity to either briefly or maybe a little less than briefly chat with all of you about this. But as Ms. Lopez said, basically, upon getting to the county with the expansion of the original Keys Gate 1, as we all know it, CDD and Special Taxing District, Dormant Special Taxing District, we were informed in some back and forth with the county that while the CDDs can be expanded, the Special Taxing Districts cannot be expanded. And we, had to kind of go ahead and do the 2 items that you have before you here today, which is to contract back and leave the original Dormant Special Taxing District that covers Keys Gate 1 and now create a new Special Taxing District for the 10 acres that is Keys Gate 2, or is the north parcel of Keys Gate 2. So it's that proposed KG2 north site that you see all the way at the top there. And here it is. And so obviously site plans, and in fact last month you all approved the final plat, which is why this is a little pressing, because we go back to the county now to finalize the plat and record the plat, and we need to have this in place. But not really going to bore you guys with any of this. This is probably the important part. The last, try and get to this, because none of you need to read all of this. So here we go. So the applicant at the end, and the purpose, as Ms. Lopez mentioned, was to undo the 2023 approval that you have there, the change in Miami-Dade County policy, and to now seek from you the contraction on the one hand, and then the approval of the new Dormant Special Taxing District for those 10 acres. I don't imagine that unless any of you have any more specific questions that I need to belabor the point, but I'm happy to answer any questions, or we would just ask for your support of both items.
Council, any questions on these 2 companion items? All right, hearing none, I'll open the public hearing. Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion to approve tab 5, the repeal of the previous expansion of the special taxing district. Moved by Councilman Ross, seconded by Vice Mayor Fletcher. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Ross?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bailey?
Yes.
Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And then a motion to approve tab 6, which is to establish a special taxing district with respect to the small parcel just excised from as a result of the prior motion. Moved by the Vice Mayor. Second by Councilwoman Bailey. Any public comment? Close the public hearing and roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bailey?
Yes.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Very good. Thank you.
See you in a bit.
All right, our next two companion items are tabs 15 and tab 7 with respect to the VARCAMP application, the first being the future land use map amendment, followed by a rezoning. Mr. White.
Yes, tab 15, card number 4190 is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the comprehensive plan future land use map designation as requested by VARCAMP Group LLC of an approximately 16,875 square foot parcel of land from low residential use LRU to light commercial use LCU for the property located at 60 Northeast 16th Street as legally described in Exhibit A, providing for conflicts, severability, and providing for an effective date. The companion item, which is tab 7, is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the rezoning as requested by VARCAMP Group LLC of an approximately 16,875 square foot parcel of land from one family R1 zoning district to professional business restricted B1A zoning district for property located at 60 Northeast 16th Street as legally described in Exhibit A, providing for conflict, severability, and providing for an effective date.
All right, thank you. Any objection to waiving the development services report with respect to either of these items? All right. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak on either one of these two related items? We'll make note for the record that the applicant's representative is here with us. I need a motion to approve tab 15, the future land use map amendment. Moved by Councilwoman Bailey. Second by Councilwoman Avila. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey?
Yes.
Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And a motion to approve the rezoning to B1A under tab 7 for this project. We have a motion. Moved by Councilman Roth, second by Councilwoman Bailey. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
All right, next two items will be presented in bulk, tabs 14 and 18, with respect to the Kings Highway LLC application for the future land use map amendment and related rezoning. Mr. White?
Yes, tab 14 is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the comprehensive future land use map designation as requested by Kings Highway LLC of an approximately 0.5 acre parcel of land from light commercial use LCU to low residential use LRU for the property generally located northwest 15th Street, east of Northwest 2nd Avenue, south of Northwest 16th Street, and west of Northwest 1st Avenue, as legally described in Exhibit A, providing for conflict, severability, and providing for an effective date. The companion item, tab 8, is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the rezoning as requested by Kings Highway LLC of an approximately 0.5 acre parcel of land from restricted retail commercial B1 zoning district to one family R1 zoning district for the property generally located north of Northeast 15th Street, east of Northwest 2nd Avenue, south of Northwest 16th Street, west of Northwest 1st Avenue, as legally described in Exhibit A, providing for conflict, severability, and providing for an effective date.
And any objection to dispensing with the staff report on tabs 14 and 8? No objection. All right. Do we have a motion to approve tab 14, the future land use map amendment for the Kings Highway LLC project? All right. Moved by Councilor Ross, seconded by the Vice Mayor. Yes.
Just wanted to make sure that we opened it up for public comment before.
Yeah. And I'll now open the public hearing on either of these items, either the future land use map amendment or the rezoning for the Kings Highway LLC project. Also note that I believe the applicants or the parties in interest are with us in the audience tonight. Recognize them. So not seeing any desire for public comment on this item, we'll close the public hearing And we have a motion on tab 14, so let's have a roll call vote. Madam Clerk?
Councilwoman Bailey?
Yes.
Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Lawson?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Now we need a motion on tab 8 to approve the rezoning. Moved by Councilwoman Bailey, second by Councilwoman Avila. I just want to make note that these lots are well in excess of 7,500 square feet. They're all over about 8,200 square feet, and in my opinion, far more compatible with the area and the neighborhood than what was previously permitted or contemplated. So with that, let's have a roll call vote. Madam Clerk?
Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilman Roth?
Push the button, Larry.
It's not working.
Turn off that mic over there. Maybe that because that one's on.
That was a yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Lawson?
Yes.
The motion
And
carries.
we're going to register Councilman Roth on the microphone here. We got his red light to come on. Okay. All right, moving right along. The bulk items, we'll take in bulk all rezoning items for the Sandero Landings project, tabs 9, 10, and 11. And we will waive the staff report on that as well.
Yes, let me just read those into the record. Tab 9 is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the rezoning as requested by D.R. Horton, Inc. of approximately 82.10 acre parcel of land from general use zoning district to technology mixed use zoning district for the property generally located north of Southwest 328th Street, west of Southeast 12th Avenue, east of Southeast 6th Avenue, as legally described in Exhibit A, providing for conflict, severability, and providing for an effective date. Tab 10 is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the rezoning as requested by D.R. Horton, Inc. of approximately 10.28 acre parcel of land from RTH Townhouse zoning district to the technology mixed-use zoning district for the property generally located north of Southwest 328th Street, west of Southeast 12th Avenue, east of Southeast 6th Avenue, as legally described in Exhibit A, providing for conflict, severability, and providing for an effective date. And last, tab 11, is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the rezoning as requested by D.R. Horton, Inc. of an approximately 4.4 acre parcel of land from the multiple apartment R3 zoning district to technology mixed-use zoning district for property generally located north of Southwest 328th Street, west of Southeast 12th Avenue, east of Southeast 6th Avenue, as legally described in Exhibit A, providing for conflict, severability, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, sir, and we will waive the staff report there. Anything further from the applicant's representative? Of course there is. Come on down.
Good evening, Melissa Tapinas with law offices at 200 South Biscayne Boulevard, Miami. We're very excited to be here this evening. We have a full presentation for you to introduce you and the public to the Sandero Landing property and project. So with that, I'm happy to present, and of course, you can shut me up whenever you'd like. Good luck with that. So I'm here representing D.R. Horton. I'm joined by our team, first with Bauman Engineering, John Kim, Natalie Licari, and Veronica Altuve. They are our traffic engineers. If you have any questions, they're here to join us. Eric Valle is our urban planner and architect. And of course, our D.R. Horton team, led by Cynthia Caldavilla and my partner, Maritza Harrow. We're all very familiar with this 97 acres of land located just north of 328th Street and just west of the Florida Turnpike. We consider ourselves stewards of an incredible piece of real estate. We look at this as a once-in-a-generation opportunity to really meet some needs that both the city of Homestead has as well as the overall community. And that's the spirit of which we've taken to plan this project. And as you know, we've been working on it for a couple of years now. When we looked at this area and we studied the demographics of the city of Homestead, we realized that the city, your constituents, are relatively young, a median age of 33 years old. They mostly have children, they're highly educated, and their retail spending is significant, especially as it relates to the median income county-wide. What this means is, what does this demographic really want, and what is lacking in the city of Homestead today? We believe that the city is in need of retail merchandising throughout the city. We think that this is in the city's best interest because by providing these retail and service amenities, it allows for that retail spending to take place right here in the city of Homestead, benefiting your local businesses and your tax base to really create a thriving economic ecosystem. Instead, what we have is many of our lifestyle retail destinations are without traffic, 45 minutes away. With traffic, you can double that. And what that means is in order for this demographic, your constituents, to get their daily needs met, they have to travel. And that, of course, leads to the frustration that we all know dealing with traffic every day. So what we've been looking at is how to bring these kinds of lifestyle destinations to the city of Homestead. We're all very familiar with pedestrian-only streets like Espanola Way in the city of Miami Beach, along with Lincoln Road, Giralda Plaza in Coral Gables, where I'm sure many of you enjoy outdoor dining in the city of Coral Gables, again, over an hour away. We're familiar with destination streets like your Wynwood, Walls, as well as Calle Ocho in Little Havana, and of course Ocean Drive in Miami Beach. And of course, we're very aware of these trendy entertainment streets that we see popping up all over South Florida, including your City Place in Doral, your Brickell Plaza, as well as the Design District. And our goal here is to introduce what we believe is a much-needed, first of its kind, trendy, mixed-use, pedestrian-oriented destination to here, the city of Homestead. Now, this is a video. It'll begin on Southwest 328th Street at our entrance, and I'm hoping it will cooperate with me. Press one more time. There we go. So that is our vision of the project, and we'll go through what is this video depiction in 2Ds of basically a master plan and a regulating plan. Today we're here to speak about the zoning application, but we thought it would be very important to show you what we've been working towards this moment, to show you what this project can mean to the city of Homestead. So as we all know, this property has been designated by your future land use map as technology mixed use and zoned general use along with townhouse district and multiple apartment district. This is where we are today, and what we all know now is that there wasn't a corresponding technology mixed-use zoning district, so this council established that zoning district in January of this year. Today, we're here at first reading for a rezoning to your newly established TMU zoning district, and hopefully on May 22nd, you'll have us back, and we'll be requesting that second reading of this rezoning, along with the approval of the master site plan that we'll walk you through today, as well as that regulating plan, which becomes the law of the land as it relates to this project moving forward, and then, of course, a tentative plat approval so that we can provide for individual parcels of not only the commercial mixed-use component, but individual lots for those townhomes that we'll be showing you. So first, the overall master plan. And the video took you from the main entrance that is at the bottom of your screen on Southwest 328th Street through the perimeter road along the South Canal onto that pedestrian street, which is in the center of the eastern commercial block, through the main east-west corridor where the live-work units are located, and then ended at the community center or clubhouse, which is in the center of the project. In total, the development program has over 191,000 square feet of commercial. Above those ground floor retail establishments, we have 3 stories of apartments, which can be condominium or for rental. We anticipate that they'll be constructed to be rental apartments. They will have private amenities, so it'll be easy to convert to condominium in the future. And we also have 2- and 3-story townhomes along with live-work units. The total density is 12 units per acre. To zero in on the commercial and mixed-use component of the project, this is that west block and the east block, which the video took you through the center where you saw the entrance green areas or public parkland, along through that pedestrian street, which you see on the right of the screen. Well, you'll also notice in large boxes our proposal for 3 anchored tenants, and we'll speak about this a little bit more when we speak about the traffic analysis. But what our commercial brokerage partners tell us is that as far as large anchors go to really assist in curating the more detailed tenancies within the project, we anticipate that it'll be a specialty grocer, such as a Trader Joe's or a Fresh Market, along with a lifestyle fitness establishment like your Lifetime Gym, as well as a medical facility associated with Baptist, such as an urgent care, ER, something of that nature. The rest of the retail tenants, which is the majority that you see lining the streets, will be curated to be lifestyle, health, wellness, and opportunities for local businesses to thrive in this new environment. Within the center of those retail liners, you'll see parking. It is structured parking, 3 decks, and the loading for each one of these retail establishments are between the structured parking and the retail, so it's rear loaded to ensure that you're not loading from the streets at the frontage, that becomes and maintains being pedestrian friendly. Because the goal is to be a shopping and dining destination, and those frontages are necessary for outdoor dining and other types of service amenities. We anticipate those service amenities would be your salon, barbers, cobblers, etc. Now, these are the front facades of those mixed-use buildings without any landscaping. You'll see that the ground floor retail will be 25 feet in height. That, again, is the modern template for retail establishments that are very limited today in the city of Homestead. And then, of course, you'll see above them articulated apartments/condos, and those all have private amenities, including large balconies, and they'll be connected to the buildings on the 2nd story. So there'll be access from the parking structures to the actual residential homes. Here you have another facade renderings of these buildings, and what's important to note is that there's the opportunity for rooftop food and beverage as well. That's something that is in high demand today, and again, something that the city of Homestead today does not offer its residents. We have many public amenities throughout the project, and those are in our master plan as well as our regulating plan. In addition to the entrance plazas that you saw in the video, there's also greens as well as that pedestrian-only street that the video walked you through as well. The two-story townhomes are all fronting the greens that connect the residential component. You'll notice that the architecture is intended to be modern, farmhouse, quaint yet upscale. You'll see that there's stoops and porches fronting those greens, and the facades are quite well articulated and with distinct roof lines as well. The garages I'll show you in other renderings, they're rear facing. These are the three-story townhomes, again fronting the greens. You'll see that the facades are set back, providing for opportunities for balconies in addition to the stoops and balconies. And then lastly, the three-story live-work units that are fronting that major east-west corridor, which is like our main street. That is where we have specific dedicated bicycle lanes in our regulating plan. These are large 80-foot right-of-ways. These dedicated bicycle lanes allow for landscaping on both sides of the bicycle lanes, allowing for the lack of conflict between the on-street parking spaces and the pedestrians utilizing the sidewalks, which are all 6 feet and wider pursuant to our regulating plan. You also saw in the video the clubhouse and community garden. The clubhouse is one that you would see that is consistent with the caliber of development. You'll notice a large pool with a sunning area and deck, a large children's playground, meeting and banquet rooms, as well as a business center for many individuals that work from home. We now know that in the city of Homestead, between 22 and 28% of residents are in fact living from home, and we see this is a trend that continues. There's also a lot of public amenities throughout the residential component. These public open spaces are meant to be recreational in nature. They have playgrounds, dog parks, and are perfect opportunities for outdoor activities, including exercise and relaxation. Notably, the common open space of these green areas are over 21 acres. The water bodies are over 4 acres, and this does not include the 7+ acre resiliency park that we'll talk about in just a few moments. The goal of the residential component is to create a community that's connected at the human scale. That is really what this project is intended to do, and it works well together with the 15-minute city that I'm sure you've heard from Mr. Valle. How you create a sustainable community is a place where you can live, work, and play, and part of that is, of course, mobility. Walkability of pedestrians is our #1 focus. To that end, we have well-connected streets. They're all pedestrian-friendly with safe crosswalks, as I mentioned, dedicated bike paths to promote physical activity, shaded canopy trees, as well as street furniture consistent throughout. And of course, to have a pedestrian-oriented community, you also have to have the safe community. So these streets will be well lit, there'll be traffic calming measures, the pathways will be safe, and they'll enjoy natural surveillance through porches facing sidewalks and greens, as well as those stoops and balconies. And again, the goal is to enjoy outdoor recreation. Another mode of mobility is, of course, the city trolley stops. We have planned to have 2 stops within this community. The goal is to connect Sandero Landing to the almost finished bus rapid transit station, and the goal there is to connect to major employment centers throughout South Florida, which is now really a reality thanks to that BRT, the Metro Rail, Tri-Rail, Brightline. And I mentioned, of course, the bicycle route, which is also important as the city of Homestead, through its many county and regional partners, have already started construction of the Biscayne Everglades Greenway, and this dedicated bike lane is intended to work in harmony with that greenway. There will be water bodies in this area for stormwater retention. We are currently exploring how to add safety mechanisms to these water bodies. That is, of course, in addition to the county code requirements, which are very stringent as it relates to slopes. We're currently working with our planner on ideas, including providing littoral zone landscaping, including submerged plants, floating plants, emergent plants, and terrestrial plants. And the goal is to simply make the lake area something that you don't want to explore because, of course, that is could be very dangerous. As it relates to parking, this plan provides surplus parking of over 750 spaces. That is provided for in that structured parking garage, as well as on-street spaces throughout the community, garages within the townhome units. Specifically, the townhome units, this is that rear rendering that you can see, and you'll see that the 2-story townhomes and the 3-story townhomes all have 3 spaces available within their property. The 2-story townhomes have 1-car garages along with 2 cars in their driveways, and the 3-story townhomes have 2-car garages along with 1 space in their driveway, which you can see better here. There's also the idea of enjoying a ride share as another form of mobility, and we have on-street parking spaces that we intend to provide signage as a dedicated ride share facility. Solid waste is something that is very important to the city, so we're committed to providing private solid waste pickup and disposal service. As I mentioned, the plan of the retail components is intended to separate the service from the pedestrians, so they're all the garbage is in the rear of those retail establishments. Now, of course, a project of this magnitude requires a significant analysis of traffic in the area, and I have our colleagues at Bowman here to answer any specific questions that you may have. I can tell you that they have studied existing conditions, background conditions, including to the year 2027 without our project trips. This is 1 year after our projected build-out year. They've also studied short-term conditions with minimum intensity as well as short-term conditions with maximum intensity, and I'll speak to that in the traffic equivalency matrix in just a few moments as well. Most importantly, we've studied this in the long term to the year 2045 with our project trips and also including the Florida Turnpike interchange with those fully signalized intersections as well. So I mentioned how this traffic analysis works and in this equivalency matrix. So of course, when we think of a project that we're in establishing it today, hopefully at first reading, it'll be constructed, and then we hope it'll be a very successful project for decades to come. We need to realize that tendencies will change, and we need to think about traffic in best case scenarios, meaning uses that generate less traffic, and we also have to think about it in the worst case scenario for uses that generate a lot of traffic. So uses that attract a lot of traffic could be your medical office uses, and we're not proposing that here, but again, we want to keep that in mind. Uses that generate very little traffic, your townhome units, that would be something that would be little traffic, your clubhouse, little traffic, etc. So what we've done here and what we're showing you is what is our actual proposal and what we've studied, knowing that we can get into details, and your traffic consultants at the city as well as our partners in Miami-Dade County have reviewed and approved this plan and this equivalency matrix. So the idea being, as this comes online, we can continue to study the requirements, and our improvements are based on the worst case scenario, which we think is important as well. So in the city of Homestead, we have, as you know, proportionate fair share. We have studied that proportionate fair share, and As far as traffic improvements, we're of course proposing a signal at Southwest 328th Street at our main entrance, and we're also will be building a new bridge on 167th Avenue. That bridge has been closed for some time, and we have met with Miami-Dade County, and they've agreed to allow us to open that bridge with a new bridge. The rest of these projects are actual proportionate fair share improvements that we will contribute towards, and we can discuss here now or at the second reading or in between, whenever you'd like, as to what the reality is as to what we can build. Because based on what is our proportionate fair share at what we intend to build, that number is about over $1.6 million. Some of these improvements, I am told by our traffic engineers, are not really viable, but they continue to be on the list. So it would be up to this council to approve our proportionate fair share agreement at a later time. That's not before you today, but I will tell you that you have the freedom to tell us what you would like us to actually use this money for. I understand from speaking with some of you that you would like to see 172nd Avenue improved, and that is something that is possible. We've confirmed that, in fact, that dedication has already taken place. So although that 172nd Avenue is a two-lane roadway, it really is it has been dedicated as a true half-section line road for 4 lanes. I should mention also that based on our traffic engineer's analysis, we did not utilize Southwest 172nd Avenue for our traffic analysis, meaning we didn't place any traffic from our project on that avenue because the traffic engineers have all agreed that it would be circuitous to get to this project as it is today. With that said, the right-of-way is there. It's adjacent to our project. The current owners did dedicate that in 2015, and it would be up to this council to tell us how they would like to spend our proportionate fair share. We believe that one of our major improvements as it relates to traffic is this over 7 acres of land that we're calling Resiliency Park. And we think it's resilient not only because we will, of course, sod it and it could be used for actual, pervious space for rain events, but also it could be utilized for soccer fields and recreational areas. But most importantly, we've set it aside for the Florida Department of Transportation to build what has been promised to the city of Homestead for a very long time. It is part of the long-range state plan of 2045 to build this, and we're hoping by bringing a project like this to the city of Homestead, our federal and state partners will see that they're not only building a part of an interchange for agricultural fields, but really for a growing, bustling, vibrant community. As far as our other impacts, this project is vested for Miami-Dade County Public Schools. We'll be paying over $3 million in our proportionate fair share contribution. That is in addition to the $3.8 million of impact fees. As it relates to impact fees, this project will generate over $22.8 million in impact fees. And now I think we can all realize why I was so assertive, I'll say, about making the city's priorities part of the county's plan. Just alone for this project, it's $12 million in road impact fees that will be paying Miami-Dade County. And the goal of that effort, which the mayor has taken the lead on, along with the administration, is to ensure that, in fact, when we spend this $12 million, it stays in the city of Homestead. And we could do that through what we call an application for credit in lieu of impact fees, which means that instead of writing a check for $11,994,000, we will do that work, right? We will enter into an agreement with Miami-Dade County to do that work, and we understand that the city of Homestead has priority projects as of Last week, we received confirmation that it was approved by the Transportation Planning Organization's subcommittee, and then the next step will be for it to be approved by the general TPO, of which the mayor serves as a representative for the city of Homestead. So that will be the next step, and that will give us plenty of time to move forward with your administration on this application process and actually build the city's priorities. So with that, we're all available for any questions that you may have. We're very excited to present this project to you. We've had community meetings for this project. We do have a QR code that we've been obtaining information from people who visit or attend our community meetings. And again, very excited to be here and available for any questions.
Thank you. Council, who would like to kick it off? Councilman Roth.
Thank you. Oh, Fletcher's there, okay. Thank you for that, Melissa, and thank you for your diligence with me over the last week or so with the more concerning aspects of the project, which I love the project. I hope it comes. I hope that the citizens that are here today will enjoy it as much as the people that will eventually live in this community will. But most of the stuff that you and I have talked about had nothing to do with what is on the agenda tonight as far as the TMU and converting that. It's more about the traffic. Can you go back to one of the slides that had the yellow dots on it? And I think maybe before I go into just some of my thoughts and listen to these, you said the traffic folks are here. Do they want to say anything at this time about their studies? And I'll ask staff too, have we seen any of their traffic studies?
Yes, we have been working closely with the applicant's traffic team and Ms. Tapinas and Ms. Haro. We received a minor revision to the traffic study yesterday per our comments, and we should be wrapped up with that in a couple days, and hopefully we'll have an approved traffic study by the end of next week.
Great.
I'll take this opportunity to correct the record on something I mentioned earlier, because there was an update. Instead of $1.6 million of proportionate fair share, we'll be paying over $2.5 million.
Okay. We'll figure all that out some other time. But
take advantage and put it on the record.
Just for the purposes of the conversations that we've had this week and the discovery of some dedicated land to the 172 corridor. In my opinion, I mean, I want to look at this a little bit closer because since we have more money and we're going to be doing like $12 million in impact fees to the county that we want to try to hold on to as much as we can get.
Process.
Mr. City Manager, we're going to work on that too, because most of the area is 4-laned. East of that, right? And everything to the west of it is, for the most part, 2-laned. And without the existence of the turnpike off-ramp and on-ramp in that area now, there's only 2 ways for the traffic to funnel, right? If they have to get to the turnpike. And that's to go south to Florida City or go east and north to the Campbell entrances, right? So the 172 Avenue and 328 Street intersection, in my opinion, is one of the critical ones that has to be expanded from 328 north to East Mowry. And then when you head east on Mowry to 152, if you're going to try to get to the turnpike, there's no traffic signalization there. And what's happening is it's causing a lot of problems at 152 in East Mowry for those that want to go northbound to the turnpike. So these are just my thoughts for now on how we can allocate some of this money, and obviously there's others that we'll speak to. And then the roadway on the east side of the property, where you're going to have the three egresses and ingresses that will feed out to either East Maury or come back around to the beginning of the property and feed out to Southwest 328th Street. That intersection to the north on East Maury is also going to be a critical component to traffic flow there. Whether it leads out to Campbell or they go east out to 152 to catch the turnpike at Campbell and 152. So those are the things that I thought we needed to really focus on. We talked about eliminating the one at Palm Drive and US 1, which is really, I think, irrelevant to this specific area. When we spoke, engineers are great at what they do, but they don't often drive in these areas, and there's
They're not on the ground.
they're not there. So those are just my thoughts, and like I said, I appreciate you taking the time and the due diligence to dig up the information you have, and hopefully this will come together. But as I've been telling people, the new folks that come into this area will appreciate it more so than the people that live here today that are going to be inconvenienced by the amount of traffic. And my whole thought is that if we can limit the additional traffic on the roads through improvements to the roadways, once they see what product is there, they're going to appreciate the fact that we brought this to the city, because the amenities that this property is going to bring are tremendous, right? We don't have that here. And I think that if we can get through these traffic issues and some of this infrastructure stuff, it's going to be better for everybody, even the developer, the people that have to come and manage these properties in the future. You know, it's not just build it and they'll come. It's plan it, manage it, and make sure it's successful for the future as well. So those are my thoughts for just now. Thank you so much, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Roth. And as the presentation was being given, I was kind of thinking to myself that between now and the site plan approval and T-Plat, we need to perhaps have one of our famous workshops upstairs with staff to drill down on this. Also understand from staff where rights of way have already been dedicated and where they do not exist. And while this $14 or $15 million overall seems like a lot of money, when you start having to buy right of way or even just doing pavement, that disappears in a hurry, you know. And I think you were on board, Councilman, that in a perfect engineering theoretical world, some of these far-flung intersections are important, but they are certainly low in priority for those of us on the ground today, and reallocate those. So
correct. Can I just add one more thing? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The notes of the $3 million for the school system, we need to find out and hone in on, because with all the new developments that are coming
that
into
goes
the
to
area,
black hole as well.
right, we're not seeing any improvements to the schools in our area, capacity-wise. They're quick to come out and tell the developer, yes, you got to contribute to that, but we're not seeing that revenue coming back. So, you know, 1,100 units, you know, potentially it's, you know, 1,000, 1,200 kids, whatever that is. The schools are already at capacity now, and we need to get some reassurance from Miami-Dade County that they're either expanding schools, adding additional schools to the area, because this doesn't even take into account what's happening out in Florida City with the number of houses that being built over there for our school system. So with only 2 high schools here, South Dade and Homestead, and then you got Summer, I guess the one by Keys Gate also, it just doesn't feel to me that there's enough capacity to handle not only this development, but all the other stuff that's already been approved that's coming. And if we're giving that kind of, if developers giving up $3 million to schools, we need to see it. And it goes back to the phrase, our proportionate share. Where's our proportionate share coming back for our schools? So it's something else to think about.
Thank you. So I guess implicitly in my anticipated vote to approve all of these rezonings, that between now and our deliberation, we're gonna need to have that roadway workshop set aside so that, we can go forward and, enter into those agreements, if available, with the developer and know what we have and be real clear because, I agree, Councilman Roth, that there is that component of our current population that just will never like this project. Most will, those who are here now and those in the future. But those who are here now that we owe a duty to don't like the perception or the reality of more cars with the same street capacity. So I think as we approve this, as we consider this next month, I'm going to ask our staff, and I know they work well with the applicant's attorneys to get that done.
Acknowledge, Mr. Mayor. Melissa, I will be reaching out to you with advice of City Attorney's Office for us to have a meeting with the Miami-Dade County School Board in terms of the concurrency requirements prior to before the city making any decision on the impact fee contribution. So we'll do that before the workshop.
Very good.
Thanks.
Thank you. Councilwoman Bailey.
Thank you, Mayor. That is exactly what I was going to say. When these discussions first started and we're talking about our fair share for the roads, it all sounded like a great idea, and I was really hopeful. But honestly, I am impressed with the traction and the responses and the further understanding that we have of how it works. And right after traffic, it's schools. It's not opportunities it's an opportunity for the public school system to grow on what they're doing, and not an opportunity for other schools to come in and continue not allowing our public school system to do what they should be doing, because there have not been changes in the last at least 5 years, and it's officially now out of control. So please, if we can make that a big priority, I would be very, very interested in understanding how that proportionate share works. And I appreciate all that legwork, and I am also very excited about the amenities and what this could mean for the community. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Thank you, Councilwoman.
Thank you, Mayor, and 100% agree with what my colleagues have already stated, but I do want to give kudos to staff, because this has not been an easy road to get to this point, and also for DR Horton and your team. I really feel listened to, and I feel like my comments are taken seriously, and I can see my vision coming to life through these visuals, and I appreciate the visuals on this application. So just thank you, and I look forward to the workshop on the road work and with the school board. That is so important. But how soon are we going to get the final, like when are you expecting to break ground, assuming the timeline? Because we did talk about timelines in past workshops. Just a curiosity.
Let's see how I say this. We absolutely need to go to second reading next month. We want to close on this property in the early summer, and we want to begin our construction drawings immediately. It'll take a project of this magnitude will take time and phasing, which is part of our regulating plan, but we are anticipating that build out in 2028, 2029.
Thank you. Council Vice Mayor?
I'll just echo everything my colleagues have said. I will put it out there. I won't be here Saturday, but some of you will, and we will have our own district school board member down here. It's a great time to talk about those services that they could provide. And as far as the overall project, again, as we continue to work through the issues with the traffic and things of that nature, I understand we're going to work to those and make it work for all of us. But long term, and this is going to get more when you want to do into that construction site and you actually start building. You did answer a question for me in regards to some life safety concerns I had. Not sure that the answer you sent me was the right one yet, but we'll belabor that over the next couple of weeks. But tentatively, we're going to work through. Absolutely. So that's where I'm at. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. So let me open up the floor for public comment. Is there anyone in the audience or online who would like to speak either in favor or in opposition to this item?
I can give you my address, 745 Southeast 18th Lane in Northgate. Well, somewhere I remember this whole thing when it started 10 years ago. That property was going to get sold on the basis that the turnpike was going to get built there, both entrance and exit. Now, I can remember the state saying, oh, we don't want any more traffic entrance points, exit points, and they fought it. They don't do that anymore. Now, from what I understood, this whole project was predicated on their paying for a exit and entrance ramp onto 328. If they don't put it, it's going to be a complete CFU. It's already a joke. I drive Maui every day to go to BJ's to try to get to US 1. It's a complete chaos. And during a racetrack, Mr. Garcia, your people trying to get out of your place, they need to get out of here, from that turnpike. They need to build an entrance and exit ramp before you do anything else. Traffic. You can widen 12th Street, which is on the east side of that. That canal bridge broke 10 years ago and was never repaired. You can make that north all the way up to Campbell. You can widen that section. You can 4-lane Maui, which is now 2. That's the only other possibilities you have for expansion. You have the bridge on Farm Life Road, and I told you 304 can go all the way east to west if they would build the bridge over the canal over near Kingman. You could go all the way across town on 304. You can make that 4-lane. So you got 3 or 4 roads in the city. That's the only thing left you can expand. Now, if you don't put that exit and entrance ramp in this project, you are betraying a lot of people. And I know, I've been here a lot of years. I make a lot of people upset because I tell them what I think. And I'm telling you, if you don't have them provide a turnpike entrance and exit, that you are failing the citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Powell. Any further public comment? Is there anyone online? All right, I will close the public hearing on tabs 9, 10, and 11, which are rezoning items, and ask for a motion to approve the request under tab 9. Moved by Councilman Roth. Seconded by Vice Mayor Fletcher. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey?
Yes.
Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
We need a motion to approve the request under tab 10. Moved by Councilman Roth. A second by Vice Mayor Fletcher. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bailey?
Yes.
Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And now, motion to approve tab 11. Moved by Councilman Roth, seconded by Vice Mayor Fletcher. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey?
Yes.
Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Very good. And before I forget, see you before next month. Lots of times. And before I forget again, since I've been forgetting since 6 o'clock, I just need to acknowledge that longtime council member, former Vice Mayor John Burgess is with us tonight, and just want to welcome him back and observe some protocol and acknowledge his many years in office here. All right, let's move on to tabs, combination item of tabs 12 and 13, a site plan amendment, I think, and a tentative plat. Tabs 12 and 13, Mr. White?
Yes, tab 12 is resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting site plan amendment approval as requested by Berkowitz Development Group for the development of an 82,166 square foot warehouse facility, 183,144 square foot warehouse facility, and a 16,314 square foot flex office and warehouse building located on an approximately 18.96 acre parcel of land generally located south of Southeast 8th Street, north of Alex Muxo Boulevard, west of Park of Commerce Boulevard, and east of Southwest 152nd Avenue within the Homestead Park of Commerce as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. And the corresponding tab 13 is a tentative plat, resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida granting tentative plat approval as requested by Berkowitz Development Group for the development of an 82,166 square foot warehouse facility, a 183,144 square foot warehouse facility, and a 16,314 square foot flex office and warehouse building located on approximately 18.96 acre parcel within the Homestead Park of Commerce as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Are my colleagues comfortable enough with their knowledge of this that we do not need the formal presentation by Development Services? Okay. All right. Mr. Arza. Are we still good?
It's the first quarter. The heat are down by 4, but we're going to get through this quickly. Hugo Arza, 701 Brickell Avenue. Yes, they are, at least the last I checked. Thank you again for your time. You're very familiar with the site. We are in with a revised site plan in the Park of Commerce. We'll skip to the portions that are important. Approval of a new site plan and tentative plat application. This is the previously approved site plan. As we highlighted for all of you, we are removing in its entirety the self-storage use building, which is that top building that says self-storage on it. And what we are proposing instead, and this is oriented differently, Kingman is on the south now, is 3 flex industrial, light industrial warehouse buildings with varying sizes, ability to cater to varying bay sizes, varying types of uses for businesses. The smallest building at the top, which is on the Park of Commerce Boulevard, can get down all the way to like 2,500 square feet bays, an opportunity for the kind of use that the market study for the Berkowitz Group, and I've been remiss in not pointing out, I know you all had an opportunity to meet Jeff Berkowitz and his son Andrew Berkowitz, and they're here in the audience today. And I'm sure they thank you for all the time that you all took. They're excited. They own this property now. We've teased some of the art and public places that we plan on putting on here, and really we're just looking to move forward with this, be able to get some shovels in the ground with jobs, which I think ultimately is what the Park of Commerce has always been intended for. Some renderings, which are always nice to look at in the context of these presentations, and tentative plat that has 2 tracks now, just one for the smaller building and one for the 2 larger buildings. City benefits you're all very familiar with, and in this case, the jobs, I think, is the driving force for the Park of Commerce, which is seeing a project like this one with long-time family-owned development business that's been in town here for over 40 years, is going to turn into jobs in your area. So I thank you for your time. Happy to answer any additional questions, and appreciate your vote this evening.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Any questions or comments from council? Well, let's open the public hearing. Second. Now we'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone online or in the chambers wishing to speak on this matter? Not appearing, I'll close the public hearing. We have a motion by...
I reserve some time for rebuttal.
It's been 6 months. I got to come. I live in Northgate, and I see the traffic. Thank God I don't have to drive in it. Thank God I don't have to take Kingman up to the Turnpike in the morning, or 137 try to get up to the Turnpike. And we worried about Copart when they were going to bring in their stuff, the traffic they were going to create, the trucks, where are they going to go, how are they going to get in and out of there. And now we're going to put 1,100 units right here by BJ's, and we're going to add, what, a couple hundred more trucks, forget cars, trucks, in and out. Now, what about when the Amazon building, they're saying that's going to open up at some point. We're going to have 10,000 trucks trying to go to 2 points to get out of here. Forget it. Now we're going to add another 1,100 units by BJ's to get out of the Turnpike, try to go to US 1, try to get a US 1 and the Turnpike to the Keys on the weekend. You tell me how you can get between those 2 points to the Keys. We take Card Sound, okay? Thank God something's going on with that park. It's been years, we've been through stuff, we've been through museums, we've been through the air base complaining about noise, and they're finally building. Like the mayor said, they got nowhere else to go. So we've kind of got it by default. Whether we got it by default or not, I don't care. It's going to go there. The other thing is, you got traffic. And the taxes, great. Industry, great. If I have to go up to Kendall every other day to the doctor, I got to get out of here by after 10 o'clock, or I can't get there for 2 hours. It's absolutely absurd trying to drive around here in South Dade. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Okay, so we'll close the public hearing. Ms. Arza, any final comments? All right, I believe we have a motion and a second on tab 12 for the site plan approval. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bailey?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Now we need a motion on tab 13, which is the tentative plat for this project. Moved by Councilman Bailey. Was it Bailey? Seconded by Councilman Roth. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey?
Yes.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Very good. Thank you. Good night. All right. And that takes us to
Tab 16.
tab 16, the second reading on our code amendment. Mr. White?
Yes, tab 16 is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 30 zoning, Article 3 District Regulations, Division 12, B2 Retail Commercial District, Section 30-276B, uses permitted as of right, by removing self-service storage facilities as a permitted use, and Division 23 Planned Urban Neighborhood District, Section 30-396.34 permitted uses prohibiting self-service storage facilities, and Section 30-396.42 sub-areas prohibiting self-service storage facilities within the commercial and industrial sub-areas of the Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood. Article 4, Supplemental District Regulations, Division 2, Off-Street Parking, Section 30-433, Off-Street Parking Area Requirements in all districts, by modifying the off-street parking area requirements related to self-service storage facilities, and Division 9, Mixed Use and Non-Residential Development Standards, Section 30-542, Self-Service Storage Facilities, modifying the development standards related to storage facilities, further amending Articles 6, Planned Unit Development, Section 30-570, Permitted Uses, prohibiting self-service storage facilities, providing for exemptions, severability, providing for inclusion in the code, conflicts, and providing for an effective date. Second and final reading.
Thank you, sir. Again, for the public, it's a second reading on the elimination of self-storage facilities going forward. Any final questions or comments from council? Councilman Roth.
Just one question. A while back, we had approved a U-Haul self-storage at the corner of East Maury and 162. Did they ever proceed with their plans?
They're in the building permit process.
They're in the process.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we didn't do something that they'd come back and say,
No,
what
and-
the heck? But
and-
they're already there. Okay.
Yeah, and a couple weeks ago, we approved a self-storage facility. Mr. Proctor was here at
Right, we
first
had
reading, and he had concerns. We've already approved that ASPR, and so his development is good to go as well.
That would be
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes.
At the request of council, I had created an exemption in place that, but he didn't need it. But it's still listed as an exemption.
Sure. Councilwoman.
Thank you, Mayor. I support the item. I just did have a question during my meeting with the manager and staff on it. What is our stance on boat storage?
I don't know that we have a code for that, and that may be something we need to look at. I know folks have made inquiry to me on the far reaches of the city, where there may very well be a market for covered or uncovered RV and boat storage that we may have to address. I think certainly my intention here was, the traditional indoor enclosed self-storage facility.
That was my interpretation as well, but I do understand from legal that it does kind of cover both. So if we can in the future bring some items to make those clarifications to maybe attract those businesses.
Right.
Because the marinas don't have enough space and we are really close to water, so.
Well, and it may be as simple as changing the definition of a self-storage facility such that what we're kind of talking about now does not fall under that prohibition.
That was one of my recommendations, so if you can give us some guidance on how we can do that, that'd be great.
So when you're dealing with boat storage, there's a couple of different types of storage. There's the rack storage, which involves lifting the boat and putting it on a rack. That's usually close to some marina or water body. That can be open air or it can be enclosed. You have trailer storage where boats are placed on trailers. They're shrink wrapped for protection, and they're usually in some type of storage facility or warehouse facility with racks as well. And then finally, there's dry storage units, which are self-service storage units that range in square footage based on the boat. I mean, you're talking about smaller boats. So self-service storage is defined as 400 square feet or less. So right now, this would prohibit that type of self-service storage. It would still allow for other types of boat storage that could fall under a warehouse definition, but as your code reads now, all that is enclosed. Now, in the past, there have been applications that have come forward that wanted to have some aspect of outdoor storage or outdoor operations that don't comply with your regulations, and in those cases, they've asked for a variance, and you've looked at those on an individual basis.
Let's get this done and close the door on what we all find objectionable, I think, and then figure out how we can accommodate.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Manager.
I think we may have to craft a new section in the code that addresses commercial boat storage. As of today, there's a huge market for it. If you go up north, Miami, Fort Lauderdale area, in fact, you have to get on a waiting list that can take you up to 2 years before you can get any storage space. So I think there is a market for us to explore.
Thank you. I appreciate the clarifications on that.
No,
I will
and
move the item.
I don't think, we're not unmindful, yeah. All right, so I think do we have a motion in a second? All right, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bailey?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Lawson?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Very good. So that concludes our quasi-judicial and legislative portion of the agenda tonight. Feels a lot later than 8 o'clock. All right, moving forward. Tab 17, I believe that is yours, Mr. Manager.
Yes, sir. Tab 17 is a procurement item for renovation of windows at the city procurement building located at 450 Southeast 6th Avenue. This is for refurbishment as well as strengthening for hurricane and also for emergencies. 400 vendors were contacted for submitting quotes. We had 10 of them come for the pre-bid meeting and 6 responded to the bids, out of which we have the lowest responsible bidder. One was disqualified, was deemed unresponsive because the vendor was not a GC. This is for $56,000, 980, with a 10% allowance for unforeseen conditions. So we recommend that we move forward with this in view of the hurricane season approaching us real quick. We expect that the job to be completed within 90 days after issuance of the purchase order.
Questions or comments from council? We have a motion to approve. Moved by Councilwoman Bailey, seconded by the Vice Mayor. Is there any public comment? None appearing. Let's have a roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Roth? Councilwoman Avila? Vice Mayor Fletcher? Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Good, thank you. Moving on to tab 18, if you'll read it by title, Mr. Pearl.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tab 18 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, adopting and authorizing the submission of amended action plans to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development for approval, reallocating funds to the city's CDBG annual action plans for fiscal year 2021, 22, and 23 through 24, providing for implementation and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Manager, anything to add? Tab 18.
So this is something that the administration wishes to put forward. This is a backup plan. It's a plan B. We have a number of projects that are already in queue. We expect that we'll be able to complete this in time to make sure we're in compliance with HOT requirements. However, it's always good to have a plan B. In the event that we're not able to get in time, this will come into play. Is simply to reallocate surplus funds and leftover planning and administration funds, as well as first-time homebuyer program to the Section 108 loan. We do have correspondence from HUD that this is an eligible use, so we are all in good shape to move forward. Thanks.
Very good. Strategic planning and thinking. Any public comment? Have a motion to approve? Moved by the Vice Mayor, second by Councilwoman Bailey. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Good, thank you. And Mr. Pearl, if you'll read item 19 by title.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tab 19 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, advocating for the return of the NASCAR Championship weekend to Homestead-MIAMI Speedway with comprehensive support, including monetary and in-kind contributions from multiple governmental agencies, providing for authorization, providing for implementation, and providing for an effective date.
Councilman, Vice Mayor Fletcher.
Yes, thank you. And first, I'd like to recognize Mr. Al Garcia from the Homestead-MIAMI Speedway. Sorry we had to put you through 2 hours of land use items before we got to this item, but just a quick statement. This is an exciting time for the city of Homestead. You know, us as elected officials, you know, we're all dedicated servants to this vibrant city of Homestead. And I've always believed that the power of unity and strategic planning and driving our city forward. Our collective efforts have consistently aimed at not only addressing immediate challenges, but also seizing long-term opportunities that promise economic growth, cultural enrichment, and community pride. Tonight, I offer for your approval a resolution that encapsulates such an opportunity, an initiative to bring back the NASCAR championship race to our esteemed Homestead-MIAMI Speedway. This proposal is just not about hosting a premier sporting event. It's about leveraging this event to catalyze an economic development, enhance our city's reputation, and unite our community under the banner of shared enthusiasm and pride. The Homestead-MIAMI Speedway has historically been a beacon of economic and social activity, drawing visitors by the thousands and significantly benefiting our local economy. The NASCAR championship race, with its storied history and wide appeal, stands to elevate these impacts to unprecedented levels. This event would not only bring substantial direct spending to our local businesses, but also spotlight Homestead again on a national scale, showcasing our city's capacity to host major events and our community's warm hospitality. This resolution before you outlines a comprehensive plan to secure the return of this prestigious race. It calls for a collaborative effort and contributions from multiple stakeholders, including the City of Homestead, Miami-Dade County, the state of Florida through the Florida Sports Foundation, the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau, and other pertinent entities. Together, we aim to provide both monetary support and in-kind services to ensure the event's success. Proposed action steps include comprehensive support, advocating for the unified approach to support the bid for NASCAR championship races return, similar to that of a Super Bowl host committee. Funding and services allocation, detailing the commitment from Miami-Dade County, the City of Homestead, the State of Florida, to provide necessary resources as needed. This includes financial obligations and in-kind services such as public safety, traffic management, and logistical support, all of which are extremely expensive in today's time. interagency collaboration, establishing a task force comprising of representatives from all contributing entities to coordinate the efforts, share the resources, and streamline the bid process for this upcoming race, which right now, recently they just announced the NASCAR series for 2025, and the final race is in Phoenix. So this will be for a bid for 2026, which is also our big semi-quincentennial celebration. The negotiation and execution of agreements, we need to empower our designated officials to negotiate and execute agreements that outline the specific contributions from each party involved, ensuring the effective use of resources for the event's success. By supporting this resolution, we are not just advocating for a single event, we are championing a strategic initiative that promises to boost our local economy, enhance our city's prestige, and bring our community together in celebration. It is a testament to our forward-thinking approach and commitment to making Homestead a city where culture thrives, the economy flourishes, and community spirit resonates. I urge you to lend your support to this resolution. Together we can turn this vision into reality and mark a significant milestone in Homestead's journey towards greater prosperity and unity. Sorry for all the words, but I had to write this, and I wanted to hear myself one time on the speaker. Thank you for considering this transformative opportunity for our city. And again, this is a tremendous opportunity to get some of those dollars that are out there for these type of events that other venues tend to get. So it's time for us to start reaching and getting our fair share. Thank you.
Absolutely, yeah. Moved by Councilman Roth, second by Councilwoman Avila.
Third?
Yeah. Third, yeah. I mean, I can't tell you how many times when I'm at events when random people, time and time again, when's the race coming back? When's the race coming back? Why don't you have it anymore? And, here we are. And I think, this all ties into the discussions we've had at the charrette with some of the items we've approved tonight and over the last few months. It's just part of a bigger piece of taking our place as the capital city of Deep South Dade. And that's my story, and I'm going to stick to it. So we have a motion and a second and a third. I don't think there'd be any public opposition, but we have to have a public hearing. When we have to close the public hearing, and a roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bailey?
Yes.
Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Lawson?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. All right, any further business, Mr. Manager? Not tonight?
None.
Thank you. Oh,
I
did
thought,
we miss
Mr.
one?
Mayor, I thought we're going back to tab
tab
20.
Oh, that's right, we've got to go back and finish 20. Sorry. That was not intentional, but let's go back and finish 20. All right.
Thank you, Mayor. So, my intention here is to try to lend an ear to the residents that are experiencing the damages and to try to find a way where we can support being an advocate for them. I don't personally feel the effects of the blasts where I live, but it's obvious that it happens, and to have a advisory board existing today like the town of Miami Lakes has, I think it's a great mirror and example, but I think we should take baby steps in this process. So I'm open to whatever recommendations, but I would like some support so that we just don't turn our cheek to the issue, but I'll take whatever advice and recommendations. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Fletcher.
Yeah, just kind of getting back to my previous comments, I think that if we have a board of some kind, it tends to throw additional emphasis that we have some control over this. So I would offer, and again, this is up to you all as a council, that we direct the city manager to identify one person in the staff that we could direct all of the inquiries to for the blasting, and at that point they can help direct them to their complaint desk to the State of Florida Fire Marshal's desk. I think that would be much more advantageous than the committee, but again, I'm not opposed to it completely, but I just think this would be the first step, and then getting people involved, again, that's always important, but we can do that without a committee, I think.
And I think equally as important, that begins to create a database. Because for me, the next step, and as I alluded to with the gentlemen who were here earlier, perhaps the more effective course of action is through the Miami-Dade and the Florida League of Cities. And we have 3 very strong advocates for homestead in Tallahassee: Senator Anna Maria Rodriguez, Representative Kevin Chambliss, and Representative Mooney. And if, as I said, Representative Fabrizio has already or is working through a package, you know, our encouragement of our local delegation members signing on can be very powerful. And as our staff formally accumulates time, date, place, extent of damage packages, it's something, you know, that's part of a bigger effort. You know, I think we've all been to Tallahassee where you see all of these special interest groups parading through the offices, and they're not speaking cohesively. And I understand that, you know, I would just envision all these various municipal boards doing that, but not having the same impact as cities who have an interest in these issues banding together through our representative groups for a cohesive and you know, focused solution, if one's available. I think, you know, the important word that we heard early tonight was preemption, and our hands are tied to such a great extent at this point. And certainly I'm not dismissive, and, you know, our residents need to not just feel, but to know that we are taking their information, can do something with it, but also have the understanding that we didn't approve the permits, that we've been preempted by the state in a lot of regards. So, you know, I like the Vice Mayor's initial thought of, let's have a point person, and, you know, we can advertise it, that, you know, if you have issue, you know, just a point of information, and we're both giving and receiving information, just as we advertise demolition training at the base through all of our social media and email blasts. We can advertise this ability and even put it on the Fix-It app that we have, and see how that goes for the next few months.
Mr. Mayor?
It's not like blasting is seasonal, it's daily. Yes. Mr.
So in addition to having a staff support, may I suggest we entertain passing a resolution urging Miami-Dade County and Dade delegation to take this up as a legislative priority. That gives them some kind of legislation from this body that this is important to our residents.
Thank you, Sarah. You took the words right out of my mouth. That was what I was going to recommend, that we, that I come back with a different resolution with your guidance that the board, that the dais can support, and I appreciate it.
Very good. So I think we have a resolution for tonight, Councilwoman.
Just one idea that came to mind, and maybe that fits in alongside, is, you know, we all know how hard it is to find members to fill committees. I'm sure there are members on our current committees that might be affected. So if it's already somebody that we trust and we know how their relationship is with the city, if for some reason our legislative team feels like a little group would be helpful, that we could reach out to our current committees and say somebody from the tourism or SWAC or somebody who might want to go on our behalf. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Attorney.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, a couple of quick items before we wrap it up this evening. First, I'd like to request 2 executive sessions. One, the matter of Lester Brown v. City of Homestead et al. It's case number 2023-20805 in Miami-Dade Circuit Court. And, excuse me, I'm going to butcher this name. I apologize. And the second case is Yanitzi Rosette, personal representative of estate of Daniel Allen Kemp versus City of Homestead. It's U.S. District Court Case 1-24 CV 20935. And just a point of clarification, because something was raised just informally about the manager's purchasing authority. We had previously, this council had taken action to pass a motion to limit the prior manager's purchasing authority during his last 90 days. I went back and reviewed the minutes. I don't think it's necessary. It was clear that that limitation was strictly placed on the previous manager as to not to commit the city to something beyond the term of his employment. But I did, because it came up, I just wanted to make it clear as, you know, and make sure that that's the council's understanding as well, that the current manager is free to operate within the constraints that exist in the city code, and that's it.
Very good, thank you. Any opposition to that? That was a lame duck piece of legislation. Very good, thank you, sir. All right, Councilman Roth, you're next.
Thank you, Mayor. So, Mr. Powell did bring up the traffic light again over by Kingman and Towngate. Any updates with the process? Public Works been telling us for a couple of years that it's coming and it's not there, and can we get an update? Or last I heard, it was approved by the county.
Yes, sir. The design professionals are currently on schedule. They are right now going through making their way to 90% design drawings, and they will begin the bid assistance and post-design services later this year in August.
So when does the light go up?
I will defer to Mr. Gonzalez in Public Works if you have some additional information.
Councilman, I'll check with the design team. I only have the schedule taking it up to when they finish the design.
And who from that point, once they do the design, is responsible for putting the light up?
It would be a contractor. We would take that design and we would solicit, if I'm correct, and then they will essentially solicit, and then the contractor will go out there and do the design, the construction work according to that design.
And who's in control, the city or the county?
The city would be in control at that time.
At that time. So once they get through the design process, because we're paying for the light, that's the monies were given to us by a developer to put that light up. So once I'm assuming, is it the county that's designing this?
Kimley Horn is designing it for the city, and they are submitting the plans and getting approved through the county.
Okay, so the next meeting, can you come back and let us know when the light's going up?
Absolutely.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. It's only been like 4 years. We've been waiting for that light to be put up. And then the last thing I have is this week is National Emergency 911 Communications Week. And I wanted to give a shout out to the police department and all of the dispatchers that are working. They work 24/7. They're responsible for putting officers on calls, making sure officers have backup to their calls. It's amazing if you listen to what these folks do on the radio. They're all professional, both sides, the officers and the dispatchers. And Chief and Colonel, I just wanted you to, on behalf of me and I'm sure the rest of us up here, give a great big shout out, a great big thank you to those. I don't want to name them individually because I don't know all of them. I have my favorites. Obviously, Melanie is one of my favorites. She seems like she's there 24/7 herself. But I just want to give a big shout out to you guys, to the command staff, to the dispatchers, to everybody over at HPD for always, always, always putting the community first and taking care of our citizens and their safety. Thank you, Chief.
Councilwoman Avila?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to say thank you for the support of, I wanted to say while Al was here, Speedway is such a great corporate citizen for our city and supporting a lot of the events and with the nonprofit organization. So I wanted to thank them. And thank you, Mayor and Council, for your support with the Kiwanis Dolphin Days Fishing Tournament. That is in full ahead planning. That's coming up June, which supports all the fundraising and activities that Kiwanis of Homestead South Day does. And There is another light coming, Councilman Roth. I wanted to tell you, I got news that one that I had requested a long time ago on 157th Avenue and 304th Street. I think that's around the elementary school there, so.
That's done.
Okay, well, someone sent me a text saying another light is coming, so, but I'm just glad to see that we're getting some activity on these lights and these things are moving forward and the projects are getting done, so. Maybe. I send stuff for all kinds of.
Am I thinking of a different one?
Maybe. I send stuff to the county all the time, whether it's in the city or not. You know, you can't turn a cheek to issues, so. But thank you, staff, for doing a great job, and Zary, you're doing a great job. You are meeting all of our demands, at least on my side, so keep up the good work.
Thank you. Just for clarification, all traffic lights, countywide, whether they're on local city streets, county road, and state road, are under the management of Miami-Dade County Public Works.
I'd just like to piggyback on to what Avila said about contacting the county. And I don't know, we'll have to discuss whether these are sunshine violations or not. I don't know if they're policy or not, but when one of us is making an effort to try to solicit, get us all involved. Let us all pound whatever organization or whatever entity we need in order to try to entice them to bring the services we want. And that's, I think, the same thing that we may want to address with the Turnpike Authority and those exits, whether it be, and somebody else brought it up to me, was whether we put one at Campbell and 167 whatever that avenue is, or if we move it over to 167 in Mowry, because there's space there too to put in an off ramp and on ramp. So, but when collectively we can probably make more noise if we're all on board to do these things in effort together in unison. So just a thought. If you're doing it, bring it to the city manager's office, and then he can convey it out to us, and let's all back each other in some of these projects.
Thank you. And two more things. I noticed our police at the entrance to the Turnpike on Campbell Drive. Thank you for continuing to make that a priority. I brought that issue up a long time ago, and I still see you out there, you know, pulling people over who are skipping the line, and so thank you for that. And gosh, I had one more thing, and now I can't remember it because it's so late, but I'm gonna let it go. Oh no, it's gone.
Councilwoman Bailey?
I'm sorry, before we move on, I just want to address Councilman Roth's comments. Yes, there are sunshine implications of you going up together to meet with people. There are different avenues for the council to collectively convey their concerns to the county. We can adopt our own legislation, which you can all back up. If you individually want to reach out to your representative to express your concerns, that's fine, but the collective creates sunshine concerns. So as we move forward, if the council would like to take an action, I'm happy to prepare some resolution, you know, calling for something so you can take a collective and somebody can bring that and it can be forwarded to the council representative so they can see that. But I do want to caution you about traveling together for that purpose.
No, I get that. And
I don't think that was your implication at all.
correct, yeah. I mean, we may not always agree on stuff here, but when it comes to bringing those things here, obviously we go through the city manager's office, let him filter it out if he has to get your information. If we're going to travel together, then we sunshine it or we do what we got to do. I don't think I've ever traveled with any of my colleagues outside of here to talk about city
I
business,
understand.
but-
I just meant, you know, meeting collectively
Yeah,
was
yeah.
my concern.
Okay.
Just because of the way it was phrased.
No worries, no worries.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Bailey.
Thank you, Mayor. The only thing I have tonight is that I can't believe I'm asking you to mark your calendar for Art Walk, which will be next month. I feel like we were just saying Happy New Year. So yeah, Memorial Day weekend, May 25th, Art Walk is coming up. We are finalizing flyers and a lot of other great things tomorrow. So we will be sending that out for you to also please share. I can't believe it's year 7, so we will be donating 7 different organizations a small scholarship for them to continue the great work that they're doing within our community. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Vice Mayor.
Yes, thank you. Just briefly, I took the opportunity this week to meet with President of the Miami-Dade College, Oscar Loñez, Dr. Loinos, this week, and he was nice enough to bring a lot of his staff along. And I can tell you that being our next door neighbor across the street, they have a lot of things that we can take advantage of as far as assistance or asking for interns, and I will be having this discussion with the city manager, but also wanted to just bring it up to the fact that, again, they are a neighbor. They're here to help us. I contacted them through the tourism committee to discuss about having a curriculum focused on advertising, marketing, and tourism that we could take advantage of through the city and create. And basically, we're going to come up with a citywide, or it's going to be a local splash page for a community calendar. So we can have everybody's events on one calendar instead of having to look at 7 different places. So again, we're going to have to work through some logistics to get that on our city website, but they actually want to do the work for us and give us the product. So we'll work through that. Lastly, I just have a question in regards getting a lot of complaints to the quarry mining in the city of Homestead Quarry on the east side of Homestead about hours of operation. What does our permit actually allow? Because I can tell you last night at 11:30, I could hear the engine revving and the drag line crushing through the rofts at 11:30 p.m. So.
Yeah, that would be outside the normal hours of operation. We'll follow up on that.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
Very good. Thanks, sir. Well, thanks to the efforts of Councilwoman Bailey and her commitment to have that community relations board, we have a lot of new blood, and I think a little bit of returning blood, and just want to announce the appointments, our appointments to the Community Relations Board. Sherry Toyosi, Alberto Rivera, Joanna Ralston Cox, Sabrina Jackson, Cardell Hayes, Melissa Martinez, Hyacinthia Leonce James, and Reverend Victor Hickson as the new members of the invigorated Community Relations Board. Excuse me. I also want to announce for the public that on May 1st here in the chambers, we will have a workshop, renewed presentation regarding potential use and business deal development options for the old City Hall site. Timing remains up in the air. If we can somehow put together the executive sessions prior to that, we'll do so. And tentatively, the workshop was 5:30. We may need to move it to 6, but excuse me again. Either way, May 1, we'll finally have that. You all may recall that probably a year ago or more, and Councilwoman Bailey and I had a sunshine meeting about the potential conversion of the old CSX rail bed to linear parks. Going subsequent to that, they had a whole new regime come in, really thinking big picture, passenger, cargo, etc. But earlier at my request, the TPO had passed and approved a study to be conducted because, to get grant funding, you've always got to have a study. And it's not just here, it's, the rail beds extend into many other municipalities as well, to have a study as to that viability and what's there and so forth. So at some point shortly after that was approved, CSX came in and asked that the TPO put that in abeyance as they were studying, a reactivation of that line. The TPO director, Aileen Bouclé, contacted me last week. She was just ecstatic that CSX contacted her, and they've made the decision that, number one, they have not abandoned a potential reuse of the track, but they have determined that some form of public way, public parks could be done in a way to not be incompatible with their uses. So that long walk off the short pier is to announce that tomorrow at the TPO, we will reauthorize or authorize that study to continue for some of those joint uses, perhaps. Finally, and in the spirit of transparency, I know you're also all aware that the County Commission directed the mayor's office to work with the city of Homestead and the rodeo and county staff and the track to come down and begin talking about a venue that would include options for the rodeo as well as many other options. The first meeting happened among the track, the city, the rodeo, and we had 2 members present who worked directly for Mayor Levine Cava present. There was also a high-ranking member of the NASCAR organization present, who is the development director for Homestead, Talladega, and Daytona, which in my opinion are the 3 biggest names in racing, right, Vice Mayor? So, things moved forward. We had a very positive meeting. Before we left that meeting, another meeting was scheduled for next Wednesday. The county has made interim inquiries since then, so I just wanted to announce that we are, all diligently moving forward and all rowing in the same direction to have that new home for the rodeo and a multi-use venue potentially out on city-owned property that's currently under lease to the racetrack. So I just wanted to bring you up to date on that. With that, yes, Councilman Roth.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm talkative tonight. I don't know what's going on. If I don't say this, I'm going to get probably killed, but the Seminole Theater is having their annual gala, May 4th. Yeah, I'd have been in big trouble. May 4th, tickets are available. Go to friendsofseminoletheater.com online. Call me, call anybody that's on a board over there. And I just wanted to throw this out there. I had it written down. I didn't mention it. And I know this is one of Fletcher's, Vice Mayor Fletcher's things. Mr. Manager, is there anything we can look at to expand the parking spaces where mayor and council and you park? Because right now, if you go out there, you can't get in your car because of my car, and Bailey can't get in her car because of my car.
I can barely make the turn if he's parked.
We'll look into that, sir.
So somehow we can figure out a way to expand those spaces for us. My car is kind of small, but Fletcher's got a big one. Avila's got a big one, and it takes a lot of space. They got big vehicles, by the way, yeah.
I realized that yesterday that you kind of upgraded to a much bigger truck, so we'll get you enough space, sir. We'll look into that.
I appreciate it. Okay. Thank you. That's all. Thanks.
And with that, we actually made the 8:30 deadline. I heard a motion and a second to adjourn. Thank you all and good night.